As long as there is malice and hate, prejudice will follow. Isn't that just a fun way to start a silly versus video? Trust me, it's thematic. Today, we're covering two characters who are part animal and, despite their struggles, embrace their race and help those who cannot help themselves. Today, we're talking about Kamen Rider Faiz and Belladonna. I'm going to preface this video by establishing some rules. Both these characters have been in crossovers. For this video, I'm only looking at canon directly tied to their main timelines. That includes all 50 episodes of Kamen Rider Faiz and Paradise Regained, and all 9 volumes of Ruby. I will not look at the crossover Kamen Rider movies as they mess with the scaling and directly contradict canon. For the same reason, I will not look at Team Ruby's adventures with DC and BlazBlue. However, I will look at both Paradise Lost and Ice Queendom, as while they're not directly canon, they both are close enough where I feel as if they can be used as supplementary canon. Ready? Open your eyes and ears for Kamen Rider Faiz versus Belladonna. My name is Mr. Catface, and this is Catface Versus. What matchups do you want to see me cover in the future? Comment them down below, and make sure to hit the subscribe button if you want to see more. I focus on versus debate discussion and power scaling questions. The only rule here is to keep it civil. Okay? Let's go. We're going to start by looking at Kamen Rider Faiz. While the belt has exchanged hands several times, the true one and only Faiz is Inu Takumi. This is the world where the next evolution of humans has been discovered, which are called Orphanox. The company Smart Brain helped to develop them and conducted experiments to help their growth and sustain their short lives. With Orphanox attacking people, humans needed a hero to save them. Insert Kamen Rider Faiz. Using the Faiz gear from Smart Brain themselves, Takumi transforms into a Kamen Rider. Kamen Riders have advanced strength, speed, and durability compared to their normal selves. This is even more impressive when it's revealed that Takumi himself is the Wolf Orphanox, so he's already far above a normal human. Even when not transformed, Orphanox can take a serious beating and can even react to bullets. Speaking of beatings, Takumi has taken a lot. He gets jumped all the freaking time. It's like his special ability. He's not a seasoned martial artist, but more of a street brawler. This does make him a little unpredictable in his fighting style. But with the Faiz gear, he has a ton more options. The suit has what's called photon blood inside of it, which is the red energy you see inside the suit. This energy powers up all his weapons, which he has a number of. His Faiz shot is a giant knuckle duster shaped like a camera. The Faiz Edge is a powerful energy blade. The Faiz Phone controls aspects of his suit and can fire projectiles. The Faiz Pointer can be attached to his leg to shoot an energy drill, and allows him to rider kick his enemies into dust. Being a Kamen Rider, it's no surprise he has a motorcycle. He can ride around on a motorcycle for high speeds and attack people while on it using his weapons. Even cooler than that, it can turn into a robot. This is Autovasion, an ally that can fly around and shoot bullets at enemies while Faiz attacks them. He has 2 special pieces of gear that allows him access to different forms. The Faiz stopwatch can be used to access the Axle form. In this form, his speed increases by 1,000 times for 10 seconds before it deactivates. This does exhaust both Takumi and the suit, so it can't be used in rapid succession. His strongest form is accessed by using the Faiz Blaster, which turns him into his blaster form. This form is 15 times stronger than base Faiz and has bloody cannons, which allows him to fly. All these suits are powerful, but they degrade his Orphanox DNA, meaning the longer he uses them, the faster he'll die. He also has an upgraded suit in Paradise Regained called Kamen Rider Faiz Next. According to its official stats, it's a little stronger than base Faiz, but it doesn't have a blaster form, and it's weaker than even base Axel's form. It does have an artificial intelligence in its helmet that predicts enemies' movements, though Takumi prefers just to use his base Faiz suit and his street brawling style. Not super important, but worth a mention. So how strong is Kamen Rider Faiz? Well, there's a few interpretations. In his Wolf Orphanox form, he's easily dozens of times stronger than a normal human. As for Rider forms, there aren't a ton of feats showcasing their max power, as most fights are hand to hand. However, during Blaster's first appearance, he used the Faiz Edge to slash a train in half. This is easily building level alone, though I did find a calc that got at the city block level. Questionable, but I'll allow it. However, we can look at the movie Paradise Lost for more feats. This is an alternate universe, but it is still basically the same Faiz with the same tech, and while not canon, is directly linked to the lore of Faiz. In this movie, not only does Faiz one-shot this huge Orphanox, but he clashes with Kamen Rider Orga. During this clash, they create this huge explosion-like attack that stretches outside of the Smart Brain Super Arena. Now, usually in these videos, I use pre-existing calculations or do very simple ones to prove a point. However, I couldn't find a calculation of this particular feat, and I wanted to include it. So I calculated it myself. The first order of business is to determine how big the light beams are. The Smart Brain Super Arena is actually just the Saitama Super Arena in Japan, which the site area of is around 45,000 meters. Based on my best pixel measurements, the arena covers an area of around 318,120 pixels. I also pixel measured how big each of the light beams are, which adds an additional 544,491 pixels to our count. That means the light from their attack spanned over 122,010 square meters. That's about the area of 2 NFL fields. Now the problem is, this doesn't mean anything on its own. It's just red light after all, and it doesn't actually carry any power. However, this red light is their photon blood energy being unleashed. Assuming photon blood and regular blood have a similar amount of mass, we can calculate the total energy. Considering it's over 250 million planes moving at 174 meters per second, this would be hitting with a force of over 800 billion joules. This would put this feat around multi-city block level. The funny thing is, I also tried to calculate the amount of damage it did to the building, which came out to be about 10 times less than this, which makes sense. No matter how you slice it, this is a city block to multi-city block level feat, which, judging on how it looks, adds up perfectly. After all that math, it's good to know my work was completely in vain, as that's not where his best scaling comes from. One of the suit it creates from the Faiz belt contains soul metal, which, theoretically, would be able to resist a blast from an atomic bomb. Now, how much soul metal is the suit made of, and to what degree it can resist atomic bombs isn't clear. Assuming this is true, Faiz should be able to contend with basic atomic bombs, with yields up to 45 kilotons. Faiz Next and Blaster Foam are both stronger than base Faiz, so they'd be even higher. Speed should be easier. Even in his human state, he should be able to react to bullets. The official data on Faiz Next Axle, his fastest form, says he can move 100 meters every 0.0041 seconds, which turns out to be Mach 71. He could be even faster than that, considering the Crocodile Orphanok reacted to the Faiz Pointer, a light speed attack, moving around 52% the speed of light. Even though his lifespan is shortened by being an Orphanok, and burning through it even faster, Takumi never lost the drive inside his heart to help. He may not have any grand dreams of his own, but it doesn't mean he can't protect dreams of others, as Kamen Rider Faiz. Hale justifies any means to reach those dreams of a better future. Moving on to the B in Team Ruby, Blake Belladonna. In the world of Remnant, there's another race, similar to humans, called the Faunus. Their biology is very similar to humans, except Faunus have traits of animals, such as ears or tails. Faunus, despite their close relation to humans, are treated as a second class by a lot of humans. This led to the creation of the organization White Fang. Originally, they were a peaceful protest group, but Adam Taurus had other plans. If the Faunus needed a true hero to defend them, they should look no further than Blake Belladonna. She's the daughter of the current chief of Menagerie, where most of the Faunus choose to live. In order to fit in at school, she decided to hide the fact she was Faunus for a long while. Eventually, she realized it was something to embrace, not hide. Blake is a huntress. She got into Beacon Academy and trained to use her aura to fight the monster's remnant, the Grimm. Beacon helped hone her strength and her techniques, both with weapons and her aura. Each aura has its own ability, called a semblance, which in Blake's case is called Shadow. Shadow is used to create shadowy clones of herself. These are used to disorient enemies and protect Blake from harm. When creating one, Blake is propelled in another direction, and in some cases, seemingly teleports a short distance. These clones can be infused with different elements, with different effects. They can gain fire, ice, or earth properties to explode, freeze, or block enemies. In Ruby Arrowfell, they can even attack alongside Blake as well. But every huntress needs a good weapon. Blake has a signature weapon, which the name of eludes me at the moment. What was it? Hey game, what was the name of Blake's weapon again?
Gamble Shroud.
Ah, thanks game. Gamble Shroud has 3 distinct forms, with different uses. When sheathed, the cover acts as its own blade, able to cut enemies. When it's out, Gamble Shroud can be used in tandem with its cover to dual wield. It can transform into 2 other forms. It can be a gun, firing rapid-fire bullets, or a grapple hook, for added mobility and safety. She uses this in tandem with her semblance to stay active and avoid damage. So how much damage can she take? Well, her aura protects her from direct damage already, but it can be shattered if it takes too much damage. We need to see how strong Blake is overall, which is easily done by looking at her fellow Team Ruby members as they all scale to each other. The scaling here is pretty consistent and straightforward. Even early in the series, Ruby has a feat from kicking the Griffin that comes out to around 18 tons of TNT. Blake herself fought a Serpent Grim, who has an AP of around 21 tons of TNT. This puts Team Ruby from earlier in the series to be consistently in the city block level tier of power, but they got a lot stronger later on. While fighting the Colossus mech piloted by Caroline Cordovan, Weiss created a lot of ice to knock it off its course. Now we can't scale to the mech directly, but we can calculate how much ice she created to knock it around. It comes out to anywhere between 174 tons of TNT to 522 tons of TNT, putting it in the multi-city block level of power. This isn't their limit, as in the manga, the Nevermore Grim, quote, blew the whole mountain away. Now, based on its size, it's not actually a mountain buster. The amount of rock actually destroyed here, if assuming pulverization, would also be in the multi-city block range of power, though the Nevermore Grim are pretty weak compared to the higher Grims. Though the best scaling for Team Ruby comes from Vine. Team Ruby defeated the Ace Operatives, Atlas's elite guard. After their defeat, a bomb was going to go off over Atlas. One of the Ace Ops, Vine, contained it within his aura, though he did die as a result. This means while we can't scale him directly to the bomb, we can scale his aura to how much it was able to stop. Vine managed to contain 366 kilotons of TNT with his aura. Since Blake beat him directly, her aura is comparable to his. Now there is one more feat, from the anime Ice Queendom. In the Dreamscape, Negative Weiss conjured a massive storm that was bigger than the city. When calced, this came out to 5.8 megatons of TNT. Now this would be a huge upgrade if Blake scaled to this. Negative Weiss is clearly far stronger, as she fought the rest of Team Ruby by herself, though Blake did beat her Nightmare counterpart. Now speed is a lot easier to go over. Many times in this series do characters dodge lightning. Blake and her friend's son dodge lightning directly, which is Mach 254 already. Other instances of lightning dodging have gotten up to Mach 382. Massively hypersonic is pretty consistent, but so is light dodging. Adam Taurus blocked a particle beam, requiring relativistic speeds, and Blake beat him. Weiss's sister Winter blocked a beam of light, which required her to move over 4 times the speed of light. Team Ruby beat Harriet, who's even faster than Winter. As I just mentioned, Blake beat Adam Taurus, who represents what could have happened if Blake let the prejudice get to her. Instead of turning to hate, she turned to her friends. Now Blake Belladonna is stronger than she's ever been. The Shadow Huntress and her team are unstoppable. So who wins? Kamen Rider Faiz or Blake Belladonna? Well, it's actually extremely close. Like, out of all the matches I've covered so far, I'd say this one was the hardest to decide. If we look at the feats in the shows themselves, namely the train feat from Blaster and compared to the ice feat from Weiss, Blake would be over 6 times stronger than Takumi. However, if we look at the Orga Clash from Paradise Lost, Takumi takes the lead with 204 tons of TNT. The Nevermore from the manga's AP is 230 tons of TNT, making them in the same ballpark again. These two match up pretty well. Of course, we haven't covered their best scaling yet. Kamen Rider Faiz's suit containing Soul Metal puts its base form around 45 kilotons of TNT. Blake's scaling Divine means she scales to 366 kilotons. Seems bad for Faiz until you remember Blaster form is 15 times more powerful, meaning he gets up to 675 kilotons. That's not even a 2 times advantage over Blake. Overall, their strength matches up very closely. This is if we don't scale Blake to the city level storm from Negative Weiss, which I think is dubious at best. So Blaster Faiz is slightly stronger, but how do their speeds match up? Faiz's next actual stated speed is Mach 71. Blake's lightning dodging feats can reach up to Mach 382, about 5 times faster. However, using the Crocodile Orthodox pointer feat and Winter's laser blocking feat, Kamen Rider Faiz could be around 52% the speed of light, and Blake could be over 4 times faster than light. However, Axel is a 1000 times boost to speed, so Faiz could be up to 520 times faster than light, so he's up to 125 times faster than Blake. The problem arises when we look at Faiz's forms. Blaster is stronger than Blake, and Axel is faster than her, but Blaster is slower than Blake, and Axel is weaker than her. Blaster has less than a 2 times strength advantage, but is 8 times slower. Axel is 125 times faster, but is 6 times weaker, over 100 times weaker if we include the Ice Queendom feat. Faiz has to choose between being faster or stronger. This is only his super forms, as base Faiz is both weaker and slower. This wouldn't be the biggest problem if Faiz's super forms didn't drain him. Axel can only be used for 10 seconds at a time, and it heavily exhausts him. He's never used it more than once in a battle before. Then we get to the stuff besides stats, which is when the scales really tip. Faiz is an amazing street brawler, but Blake is actually trained and is very intelligent in a fight. Takumi is by no means a bad fighter, but he improvises. Blake strategizes. Her weapon and aura perfectly complement this as well. Blaster gives Faiz better mobility, but Blake's Gamble Shroud does that in any form. Faiz's weapons are useful, but Blake's Shadow Semblance is a far more powerful tool. Faiz has never faced anyone with that sort of power before, especially since Blake can make 2 clones to fight alongside her. Now Faiz can handle being jumped, but Blake has too many advantages over him. I'm sorry to say, but despite Faiz looking like the better pick, Blake's got everything she needs to win. I'd say Faiz's best bet is to use Axel to do as much damage as he can while Blake can't react back. But even then, her aura would protect her from any fatal blows. Blaster can try to keep up, but Blake's speed, intelligence, and abilities are far too much for Blaster to use his small strength advantage. This is all assuming we don't scale Blake to negative Weiss, because if we do, this whole thing is moot, and Blake wins even easier. For now, I'm saying Blake Belladonna has this one locked down. Well, that was the video. What'd you think about it? Kamen Rider Faiz and Ruby are 2 series I highly recommend checking out if you haven't already. I hope to cover more Kamen Riders in the future, so let me know who you want, and drop a sub so you don't miss the next one. Until next time, this is Mr. Catface, signing off. God bless.